in India. Then, if you are able to get the same feeling what that fellow is having, then that is the success of the artist. Now, so many questions will come into your mind. Sir, he is in Africa. His marriage system is totally different. We are in India. Our marriage system is totally different. Okay. Their food culture is different. Our food culture is different. Their dress code is different. Our dress code is different. Their color code is different. Our color code is different. Their lines are having different meaning and our lines are having different meaning. In such situation, is it possible? Yes, it is possible, because there are very few art pieces, even after centuries, across the world, they are the masterpieces. For example, Mona Lisa. So, what was the thought in the heart of the Da Vinci before writing that? We cannot assess it. But what effect he wanted to bring, at least somebody can predict, some critics can tell about it. And when you are looking at that particular art piece, okay, you also may get a sort of similar feeling. It's possible. In Karnataka, we are speaking about Shantala, Rupadarshi Shantala. Hoysala kings are very famous in Karnataka actually. Bittideva, or later he has become a Vaishnavite called by the name Vishnuvardhana. He is a famous king there. You might have heard of Beluru and Halebeedu temples. They are beautiful art, actually sculptures there. There is a story. The queen in that dynasty, she was with king, but an artist came. He wanted to write the diagram of the queen. So queen sat for as a model for that particular picture. But there was a screen, etc., etc. So many things are there. He is not supposed to see her directly, etc. And he draw the picture. The story actually runs for so many days. Later, it was a beautiful picture of her. A beautiful picture came in on the canvas. And finally, a day was fixed to display it in front of the king. It's displayed. When the king saw that picture, immediately he ordered his soldiers to cut off the head of that artist. And why? Because the king understood the smile which is in the face of that lady in the art. That type of smile is possible only if she is having perfect love with the person who is sitting in front of. Then only it is possible. So he got a doubt about the artist and the wife. So he ordered to cut off the head of that. Why I am telling this is, the art is such a strong medium which can express the feeling of the artist. He need not come in front, he need not explain what it is. This may be a novel, this may be a story, this may be something folklore about a king and the queen. The reality might be totally different. So many films are coming actually about the history. All the facts, all the features told in that may be right, may be fact, sometimes may be a sort of creation of the director. But still, Still, the possibilities of, just by looking at the art piece, one can read the context, one can read the mindset of the person who created it, etc. So, if it is so easy to understand, why a lot of research is required? Just by looking at the picture, everybody can become a researcher. Everybody can become a person to explain it is so that they can become a critic, etc., etc. But we are telling that it's a serious job. You have to make a lot of reading before doing it. We are telling you, you have to know many things, what is happening in the society, etc., etc. That's why I told you about Alfred Trevor's generation shocks. This Trevor actually speaks about the generation shocks. See your parent generation, maybe the generation of Jyotibai Phule, who is the first lady to teach, particularly the lower state of the community people, particularly the women. See, during that generation, the elder generation thought that education is actually restricted to very few people. It is the consideration of that generation. You cannot say it is right, it is wrong, etc., etc. Just that was the fact. When a lady thought of giving this education to the other community people, particularly the women, it's a shock to that generation. It's a shock to that generation. But for the present generation, if you say the same thing, if your daughter, if she wants to teach an SC community girl, okay, maybe half an hour discussion may happen in your house. Ultimately, you say, okay, whatever you want to do, you do it. It's not a big matter for you now. Because in this generation, it's not a shocking issue. But in that generation, it's a shocking issue. But in this generation, see, in the software companies, number of divorces are increasing. It's a shocking to the generation. But after some years, okay, it also might become very common. Like that, few 100 years back, a Dalit entering into a temple might be a shocking news to the priest there. But today, if a Tahsildar or if a senior officer in the Mujrai department, if he belongs to a particular community, certainly he also will be invited to the temple. Because the situations are changed, society is changing, society is accepting the changes. Because this barrier, this liminality line, it is actually losing its strength. So, grandfather's generation is having some sort of thinking. The father's generation is having some sort of thinking. The grandson's generation is having a different type of thinking. There will be a difference between these three generations. And when you are actually creating your art piece, or when you are looking at the art piece for doing research, you should be able to read the same picture with the three mindsets. As a grandfather, you have to look at it once. As a father, you have to look at it once. As a son, you have to look at it once. When once Virendra Sehwag was asked about who is Salim Durrani, he said in an interview that I am not having much idea about him. But the senior generation people were very much known. Salim Durrani was playing cricket much better than Virendra Sehwag, and he was hitting so many sixes because he used to say, he used to come as a face batsman and he had only one point in his mind. In an interview, he has given this statement. My job is to open the innings. That means if I play the first ball, my job is over. From the second ball onwards, it is number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like Virat Kohli and other people. They have to take the run. I opened the innings, my job is over. Therefore, how many balls I play then onwards, it is a bonus for me. And those balls are to hit the sixes. So he used to hit the sixes like that. But nowadays, it is not the concept. The face batsman, if he gets bowled in the 19th over in 2020, he will be blamed. Why not he cleared the next one? Likewise, our students also, if they score 97 marks or 99 marks in an examination, parents will ask why the other 1 mark is not actually attained by you. The concepts are being changed. So it is quite natural. But when you are looking at the art pieces, I think you have to understand 2 things: in which category it is belonging to, in which background it is being prepared, in what condition it was produced, and for which category of people it is actually displayed. With that particular item, you can explain that particular art. Now I will tell you one small story. You try to analyze that story first. Whatever you are understanding, you just try to tell me. I will tell you the meaning, whether it is same or not, let us see later. Some of my old students might have already heard about this story, because normally in all my research methodology class, I will use this story to tell. The story is simple one. A village boy was very poor, struggled hard in the village in all possible ways to earn a lot of money, failed. He was a good worker, no doubt in it. He had a lot of skills, true. Circumstances didn't support him. He was married at that time. Young wife was there with him. Still, earning is more important for him. One fine day, he told the wife, I am going to city. I want to earn more. He left the village. He came alone to the city. Anything you can understand with this story? There is nothing to understand. This is the common situation for any of the village boy who wants to earn more, who is having a lot of ambition. So he will leave away all the constraints back and he will rush for the change. He went to the city. Story did not end here. He went to the city. He joined for some work. He started earning money. In city, you know, sometimes you are having night duty also, along with day duty. You will get overtime work. If you do overtime work, you will earn more. If you are doing a part-time work, along with your full-time work, you will earn more money. So he started earning, getting a lot of money. What happens? When he starts earning a lot of money, he did not find any money to, he did not get any time to go to his native place, to his village. He lost the link with the village. He fully involved in the earning. He has forgotten about the village. He has forgotten about the wife. Since he lives in the town, since he is doing a lot of earning, since he lost the contact, even the memory contact also with the village, he got married to a new lady in the city. He was living there happily, in bracket. Happy is a concept. You cannot show this is happiness. I may be happy by teaching. You may be happy by listening. So happiness is actually different for different people. So he was living. Maybe he had more comforts what he had in village. He satisfied. He was there. He has forgotten totally the village. Anything you understand with this story? No. Again, a common film story. Story continues. This wife, who was in the village, she thought of meeting her husband. Once she came to the city, she saw her husband. He was not in a position to recognize her. She observed him very closely. After a curious observation, serious observation, she understood this fellow has changed. He cannot come back. He cannot understand the village life again. Therefore, she decided not to trouble him. She came back to the village without disturbing him. He continued in the city. Okay, this is another phase of the story. The story is not ended here. It's continued. Sometimes in the night, he used to get disturbance in his sleep. He used to get some dreams. What is this? He had blurred images of a village, blurred images of a woman waiting for him. So he got a lot of disturbance. This dream item, he started trying to analyze it. He understood, okay, my roots are different. I am not this city man. I am from a village. Okay, my roots are there. Then his urge for visiting the village develops. It becomes more and more. One fine day, he left everything in the city. He rushed to the village. By the time he got all clear memory. Okay, my wife is there. Okay, my village is there. My old house is there. Everything it came to his memory. He rushed to the village. Can you understand anything? Okay. Then comes. He came to the village to see his house. By the time he reached the house, there was no house. Only ruined pieces of the houses were there. He asked somebody, so and so, some 20 years back, 30 years back, lived here, had a wife. Everything he narrated. Somebody in the neighborhood, they said, okay, yeah, I got a memory of them, but not very clear memory. Yes, one person was here, had a wife. True, his wife was living here for a long time. Now she is not seen here. The house is also lost. See, if I tell you this story and if I stop here, you cannot understand this story. You cannot understand the meaning of this story. I have to tell you the background of this story also. This story is seen in India. This story is seen in Scotland. This story is seen in Japan. In Scotland, in India, you can read the story with the same background. Here, the old village boy means it is nothing but handicrafts. Handicrafts which are available in different places. The items made up of hands. When this industrialization took place, see, the weaving machines are actually changed. Handlooms, they are transferred by power looms. These items which were prepared one by one, they have converted into the form of some machine-made items. So a similar cup of similar shape of cup produced by a potter, and a machine is having different look, different. Preparing a mud pot by a potter takes a lot of time. Though he is very skilled one like village boy, it is not so attractive, it cannot earn a lot of money. But the same item prepared in the city with modern machines, they are more shining, they are more durable, and they are more usable, and of course cheap. Therefore people actually went for it. Change. The first part of the story is this one only. The village handicraft items, they are actually replaced by the industrial products. So industrialization effect is being told in this particular tale. So the village boy became a town person, earning a lot, but people have forgotten about the village handicrafts. In India, situation is not very bad. Sometimes the people actually remembers about the handlooms also. People are still remember the charaka in the hands of Gandhi, though they are not using it, at least for photo purpose, they use it. Or Khadi has become a style also sometimes. So we are not lost the whole of the things. We are going to the villages now and then, at least in dreams. We are trying to see the previous generation lifestyle that we are doing actually. But in Scotland, what has happened? When they come back to the original position, when they wanted to see the villages, if they go back to the villages, villages are not there. They are ruined. In Scotland, though they are actually getting the olden days ideas in their mind, they cannot reproduce it because the system is entirely changed. This industrialization has made a lot of changes. See, even the cotton industry has changed because of the new invention. The metal industry has changed because of the equipments which are available in the market, electrical equipments. See, once when you prepared a particular model, you can produce hundreds of thousands of such items, that the brands you can prepare. Even the t-shirts, the t-shirt which I wear and the person in Uttar Pradesh wear may be same, belong to me, same Levi Strauss company. So the shoes from same company, Bata, maybe throughout India. Sir, woodlands all over world. So like that, sometimes what happens, the hush puppies, it's throughout it is available. So what has happened is the localization items are actually missing. If you go back to your village, you can go there, but you cannot see your old house there because that old house is already demolished. In Japan, this story is continued to further extent. This boy came back to the village, inquired about his neighborhood, about his house, about his wife. Somebody told, till yesterday, till 2 days back, there was one lady murmuring about your name. She might be certainly your wife. She was seen in this village. But yesterday I saw her moving towards the end of this village, towards the forest, where there is a plain land. You can go and search there. This boy was so happy. Okay, at least I got the identity. I got a route map actually. I can go there, I can meet my wife. Fresh. He ran to that place. Nobody was there. He searched here and there. In a distance, he saw a lady sitting on a rock. Rushed to her, So happy he was because it was his wife. With a broad smile, she invited him. He rushed to her. He was so happy, very contented. He said, "See, all these years I lost all my happiness, everything." So he was so tired actually because he traveled a long distance, he got mental tension, he wanted to meet his wife. It's a terrible tension to him. So he wanted to relax. He slept on the lap of his wife. He put his head there, he slept. In India, this story is having some meaning. Particularly your age people, the software engineers, they will work all the day, 24 hours, day and night. Even in house also, they won't be free. They will be inside the laptop only because work from home. When they are doing this work continuously, sometimes later, they may feel, okay, we are fed up. We want to go back to our native. They may go to the villages because now in Indian villages, mostly filled with only grandfathers and grandmothers. Fathers will be in the middle towns. Younger generation will be in the cosmopolitan cities, Bombay, Delhi, Chennai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, where actually software companies are available. So in villages, only old age people are living. Sometimes these young grandchildren, they may visit the villages. They may search for their roots. They may think about their parenthood, etc., etc. They may speak about heritage. They may speak about culture. They may speak about so many things. We had a very great heritage of India. And you people may depict all such things on your portraits, on your canvases. And if you conduct an art exhibition, certainly these people will be buyers. They may take such canvases to place it in the wall to show to the other nation friends that our culture is so rich. But in Japan, what happens? This story continues. The same story is available in Japan also. The boy rushed, met her wife. He wanted to take rest. He slept on her lap, had a very sound sleep. Early morning, the sun shines, falls on his eyes, on his face. He got disturbed, roused, looked here and there. He searched for his wife. She was not there. He wondered, well, last night I slept here only on her lap. She was very much here. I touched her. I had all feelings. Why she is absent? No. He looked there and here. Then he looked at the rock where he slept. There was a plaque. It was actually scribed stating that Mrs. so and so, born such a date, then death someday. That means this fellow went back from the town to the village in search of the wife. He could not find her in the village. His house was destroyed. Not destroyed, it was actually ruined. Then he went to the outskirts of the village. It is not the village outskirt. It is not a beautiful park. It is the real graveyard because his wife was dead long back. He could not get her. This is the story in Japan. Because after August 9th and 14th or September 19th, where Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945 got attacked by the atomic bombs. The Japan lost all its heritage feelings. It has lost all its handicraft production centers. So after that, by another 70, 75 years, 80 years, they struggled a lot to rebuild the nation. And present day Japan is entirely different when compared to that Japan. The products are so different now. Of course, they have achieved a lot. They are hard strugglers, true. But this industrialization, this modernization, this globalization, this has made so many changes. And even a person, if he wants to get back to his original situation, in nations like Japan, it is not possible. In Japan, it is not possible. In America, how many red Indians are actually slayed? There are villages of red Indians. They were in the forest. But when Columbus actually took so many people along with him, and when colonization happened in America, the natives of that place, they were killed in hundreds, in lakhs. And their culture is lost. Whatever the culture we are seeing is culture mixing. So unless you understand the history, how it is developed over the years, you cannot say what a product is actually telling. So what I suggest you is, if you want to become a art researcher, please be art historian first. You start thinking about the rock art made by the cave people, maybe from the very early stages. Because this hunter stage is a much forwarded stage actually. Before that, cannibalism, actually civilization, it is having, according to Morgan, it is having 7 different phases actually. Civilization is the last phase. Before that, barbarism is there, savagery is there, and in between, metal age is there. Before that, old stone age is there, new stone age is there. See, these are actually possible due to scientific evolvement. As science evolved, the equipments also changed. The invention of wheel, the invention of fire made the people to create something for them, whatever they want. The food which was raw after hunting was eaten earlier, but by the invention of fire, they understood how best they can prepare different types of recipes. So food and beverages modernized. This is not only in one particular form, in so many forms. If you read various Elwins about Nagas, Angma Nagas, or Gonds in Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, etc., you just try to read various Elwin's works, you can understand even the women, even the people were not wearing the cloths. When Christian missionaries wants to provide them cloths, the village people rejected it. They burnt it in the beginning. If the fresh cloths were given, they said, this is against our culture. See, all the culture which is practiced earlier are good. Certainly, there are blind beliefs. There are lacks of scientific understanding. Many things are there actually. What is the requirement for a researcher? He should understand what is blind belief, what is the real belief. He should write in such a way to create some sort of awareness to the people living in the forest also, living in tribal settlements also. It is not that you are writing for the younger generation who are doing post-graduation or further research. So you are having a social responsibility. Whatever the research understandings you are finding, whether you can classify into three blocks. One is suggestion and model for future researchers. Another one is suggestions and possibilities for the government to take up for developmental activities. Another one is to the community for self-awareness, self-understanding. Try to explain in a simple words, with a daring words, not a daring words, with a dear words. Try to tell that what you are practicing, it's having some sort of blind beliefness. Why don't you leave these types of things? You will become a social activist there. You try to convince the government so that you will become a social reformer there. Try to get some benefits from the government, make it to reach to the common people. So try to do such activities. And then you create models for your students who can follow your thesis as a model for further research. See, always don't feel what you did is enough, it's over, everything I did. See, I conducted a class for continuously 6 days. If another resource person comes and if he starts talking about field work, he can give you entirely a different look to the field work. It is possible. I cannot say everything I said. I cannot give a certificate to Shubham stating that everything in the points related to fieldwork is over. You need not conduct any more classes for these students. Like that, I cannot declare. Because knowledge is so much. Where you are actually, in which direction you are entering, how much you are actually taking from it, it is also very important. So, before concluding, this modernization actually affected our thoughts in different ways. I will show you one song in which folk artists are dancing. It is having some 3 to 4 paragraphs. I will move the slide. You just observe it. And after the observation, you have to tell me what you have observed in this particular photograph or in this song. Just I will share my slide. Try to see this. Can you able to see this?
Yes, sir.
Just try to see a chariot is moving in front of a temple. A symbol is in his hand. I actually muted the sound. because it's a folk song in Kannada. This is the temple of Madeshwara. Epic of Madappa is one of the very important oral epic belong to Soliga communities of Karnataka tribe. This is actually ritual related to Madeshwara. The temple is Madeshwara temple. See, this is called Kamsale. This song form is called by the name Kamsale. That musical instrument is a symbol, metal symbol actually. This is the actual ritual in which they are actually playing. This is Madeshwara, the chief deity of the temple. Acrobatic actions are there. This is the village. Now you can see some tricolor paper pieces are there in their hands. Yes. Have you observed this song, this dance? Could you identify anything there? But anybody wants to react? Try to react.
Sir, in between video was mirrored, I think.
Huh?
In between video was mirrored.
Okay. Right. That's one good observation. See, I am not speaking about the techniques used by the cameraman here. I am talking to you about the culture. Please try to recollect the pictures what you have seen there. I told you this is related to epic of Madeshwara. Madeshwara epic songs are being sung by Kamsale singers by using that copper symbols in their hands. By clapping them rhythmically, they sing the songs. That is a traditional factor. But now, modernity has introduced. You might have seen the same singers started using drums also. In fact, in tradition, drums are not being beaten by the same community people. The artist has used both symbols and also a play. Dappu. Next, the same dance form, it has become cinematic. In cinemas, these songs were actually taken. See, because of that modern influence, they used a tri-colored paper piece in their hand. They throw away the symbols and they started dancing. In between, there were acrobatic movements, jumping, etc., running, jumping, etc. This running and jumping, it is a modern inclusion actually. Of course, this song is having some sort of martial approach because Madheshwara wanted to train the village young people in martial arts also. So he actually gave the dance form in such a way, it is true, but not in the way it is shown in this particular dance. And at last, in the last para, you might have seen the singer is not even having symbol in his hand, not even paper pieces, everything he left. And as a modern film hero, he started dancing. So the modernity has changed. And still, this CD is available for sales in the Madheshwara temple only, temple yard. So this is actually the changes happening. These type of changes are dangerous changes because here the culture will be distracted. The cultural points will be distracted when you are presenting it. Therefore, the last point in ethics relating to research is, if you are doing a serious research, please try to present the culture as it is. If you want to say a spade is black, you tell spade is black. But without telling spade is black, don't try to show it as white. Don't change the colors of the traditions. Because we don't know what meanings they are having when they were established, when they are evolved. Nowadays, the situation changed, context changed, environment changed, the people involved in, they changed, their mental status changed, morals, values changed, mores, that is, the cultural practice of the tribal people, that has changed, the structure has changed. Even the nation's rules and regulations are changed actually. The same tribe which were living in the forest, they were branded as notified tribes, that means robbers. After some years, they are declared as a de-notified tribes, that is, they are not robbers, etc., etc. Changes are happening, but the people are same. Their lifestyle is almost same. They are continued to be living in the same forum. So why they are actually following such rituals? What makes them to stick on to such rituals? Etc., etc. That point actually remains the same for your research. So please try to make an attempt to understand, to study about the art form, to know about the history of this. When you look at Ajanta and Ellora, now people are telling that aliens were there so many hundreds years of back because only those people created this one. Like that they are telling. But being an art person, you can go to the imagination of how a human being tried to do all such things. You can recreate such particular items. You can there actually, you can tell, okay, it is not the creation of aliens, it is the creation of human beings. You can prove it. Similarly, in old buildings, architecture, or the diagrams drawn in the old palaces. See, in Rajasthan, we are finding pink city, different colors cities are seen actually there. So, how it is possible? How culturally they are strong in this particular area? So, these things you have to explain. Then, after getting a platform with all this strengthened knowledge within you, certainly you can open up your canvas and you can create something new which actually produces beautiful things. It's possible. Be a researcher, be open minded. Don't decide anything in the beginning. See, I used to tell to my students one particular thing. If you are attending a class, be open with your mind. You are having prejudices about your teachers. You may feel that, okay, this teacher is boring. 1 hour, how to sit in this classroom. I tell you, I used to train my students how to listen a bad lesson. Because that also gives you a lot of knowledge, how many wrong informations were there, how a lesson should not be, how a person should not give information, etc., etc. So many things will be made known in such classes. Like that, if you get a photograph, if you get some data, you try to understand that. Don't be prejudiced over it. It is good, bad, etc., etc. Try to analyze it. Try to understand the history. Try to understand the context in which it is prepared. Try to understand what message it is trying to give. All the things need not give messages also. All the activities happening in our neighborhood need not be essential for continuance. Continuity will be there. So you try to understand all those things. I hope we spend enough time on fieldwork, documentation, etc. The very first point is use modern technology for documentation. Use digitalization to keep the records, because this modern technology helped you. In earlier days, when I started my research, we used to carry tape recorders. We used to keep that tapes. Keeping the tapes in our lab itself is a big problem, because after a few days, if we come back to those tapes, it would be fungused, very difficulty to play it. If you play it several times, it gets break. So, lot of problems were there. Nowadays, it is not like that. Just by putting red button recording, all my words are recorded. Now it is available. Again, you can listen to it. If you upload it into YouTube, it will be available even after 10 years. So such facilities are there. So this is about the documentation. Then about getting the knowledge from different sources. Library, PDF, Kindle, online books, everything is available nowadays. See, knowledge is at your fingertip. If you open the Google here, you will get all information. Getting the information is not important nowadays. It is not difficulty. But getting what type of information, that's very important. So divide your research into 3 parts. One is about the history. Another one is how to make it. Third one is about the themes and messages. So there are the 3 different concepts. Whatever the type of research you are taking, immediately you think about the history of that. Though your teacher is not insisting upon to study upon the history of this particular art form, you read it, because by reading the history, you will be understand how it is evolved, how it is developed, how many changes it has happened. And while understanding the migration, you can understand how similarities are actually seen, how differences are there, and how it is distinguished. You are working on Ganjifa. Why Ganjifa is entirely different from all other forms of art forms? So, you will be able to understand by studying its history. Then, when you are studying about the production of that, it will have 3 important factors. One is physical factors promoting such art form even today. Second one is conceptual importance it is having. Third one, the people worked in that field. So people are also important. Oil painting and Ravi Verma You cannot separate them. So, in art form also, in music field also, some musicians' names are actually comes along with the musical instruments and the form of music. So a few becomes very important. For example, in Bengal, Rabindranath Sangeet, that becomes a separate genre. So such possibilities are there actually. But people are also important who worked upon that. The instrument is also important. The production method is also important. Then comes the messages. Why a few items are actually everlasting importance they are having. Achandrarkam, till the existence of sun and moon, Achandrarka, they remain. Why? So these points are to be addressed in your research. So if you are sincere to your heart, you will identify where exactly they found. You will place them in bibliography, in endnotes, in footnotes, and in references. You will be a sincere researcher then. So I hope you are having enough idea about good preparation is necessary for doing fieldwork. Conceptual understanding is important. Physical preparation is important. Physical training is also important to do the research work. See, keeping the raw documented material with you is very important. Don't go for editing immediately. You keep one raw item ready for reference, then you make a copy and edit it for presentation. Because raw can be used in different ways. The voice produced by the people, the information given in the raw form, it can be interpreted in different ways after looking through different theoretical framework. So try to identify in which theoretical framework your research is, whether it is developmental theory, whether it is existential theory, whether it is actually evolutionary theory, whether it is performance and context based theory, whether it is about marketing. So it is better. And what type of research you want to do? Descriptive research, whether it is based on statistics, whether it is actually empirical, whether it is quantitative, whether it is qualitative. Try to understand every word, because when you understand that word, you will be able to understand what type of research you are doing. When you are having a clear idea about what you are doing, then you can understand how best you can do it. To do it, what best you can do, that also you can think. So these things are there. I think I will come back to you after 1 month. As your madam told me, I may have to engage another 5 classes. Then by that time, I believe you will have preliminary experience of fieldwork. So I will take you to the next higher level of thinking in research. Most probably, my next 6 classes will be entirely different from this type of discussions. There actually, I will concentrate more on examples from the field and examples from your field and interpretations. I will try to bring so many theses in front of you. I will try to give how data is actually analyzed by different researchers. I will try to discuss such things in the coming days. I hope there will be a break for about 10 to 15 days or even 1 month. It's up to your Shubham madam. I am extremely happy to be with you. But I'm sorry to say, if it is an open class actually offline, we could have more interaction. Here, it is one way. Continuously, I kept on speaking. You are silent listeners. I don't know how much entered into your mind, how much you feel it is relevant for your research, because I spoke much from the folkloristic background, but folk culture is very essential to understand any type of culture. So your products are
Sir,
actually
we are understanding what are you saying, what are you trying to say, what you're trying to understand us. We are understanding it very well.
good. Thank you. So I am extremely happy to be with you. Hmm? I will remember you and hope you will remember my classes. So thank you. Thank you all. If
Thank you, sir.
anybody wants to make any comments, you are
Thank you,
welcome.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So Shubham ma'am, Professor Shubham.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I am happy.
Okay, sir.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So I'm closing the class now.
Okay. So you are taking the class on 6th, I believe.
Yes, sir. Today is what it was very late. No?